Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Tomorrow is the state target championship, so I'm training. But I want to do a video and talk about the American elections, in particular our JFK being the Secretary of Health, right? And how I feel about that. So I saw some stuff on MSNBC, that one. And they're like, all the doctors are up in arms that JFK is going to be in charge of health. And that he doesn't have any qualifications. Right? So I want to do a video because my background's health. Right? I was director of hospitals for about 12 years in Canberra. So I went through a number of different ministers in my time. I'm going to say none, zero, had experience in health. Right? So none. So it's like, the Democrats come out and they go, the media come out and they go, look, this person's got no experience in health. I know. When I shoot here every night for about 2 hours, 3 hours, and I sit here and watch podcasts on various things. And often I'll watch people sit there and talk for 2 to 3 hours on politics, and I've watched endless videos on JFK, right? So I just want to talk a little bit about it. So NBC then had their expert come on and they go, all doctors are going to be in unanimous that this is a really bad choice. And then my Facebook comes up, and I think on YouTube, and one of the doctors I follow did an emergency podcast and go, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, that JFK is in health. Now what he said, so he's head of some hospital somewhere, and he said, I just got home from doing the rounds, I heard someone do a video on it. And what he said, and I feel like I'm repeating it because it's his video, but he talks about health in his videos, and which is why I watch it. And I've been watching lots of health videos since my heart attack and trying to watch my health. Okay, so. And he's all about health and what you eat. And what he said is that young Americans are getting diabetes at a rate greater than anything. He said in 10 years, it's going to be in catastrophic proportions, and it's like really bad. So this is a really good thing for America, that someone's going to sit and address it. Now, I'm going to say I had one health minister, which was Julia Gillard. She was later to become Prime Minister of Australia. In her time as health minister, I did not get a single question from her about hospitals or anything to do with health. None, zero. It just felt to me like no one cared. It was just like, what am I doing here? No one cares about health. No one cares about anything. So we've got 5,000 people working in the department, and I wanted my position to mean something. I wanted to improve stuff. I wanted to improve the health and I wanted to contribute. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Anyway, change of government, and I get Tony Abbott. So different government, so it goes from left to right. Tony Abbott comes in. He's an I'm going to say school teacher. Later becomes Prime Minister. It's a trend there, health minister to prime minister. So I would get questions from Tony Abbott, I'm going to say every day. It was almost every day. Like, I was writing briefs for Tony every day, and he would score you like school. So it had to be simplistic, it had to be dot points so a 7-year-old could understand it. And I excel at simplicity because I'm not very good with big words, if you haven't gathered. And the other directors who work with me, so they're in charge of different areas, they come from an arts background. I come from a technical background, IT science, stats, maths, and so I wasn't good with words, so it was really simple. When I write briefs, they're always dot points and simple and short. And anyway, they write their pages and pages, and Tony graded us. He'd give us a C or a B or an A every time. So I don't know how he did it. because these briefs would go up to him and they had to be with him by 11 o'clock. So you had to knock them out in the morning, whatever the question was he was asking. And then you would get the results next day from him. They'd be graded and you'd get them back. And the directors would sit around as their reports are handed back to them, and I would get A's and the others would get C's. And they were quite pissed off because I was not very good at writing. But his view is, I don't have time to read a lot, I need things simple so I can understand. Now the thing with Tony is he wanted to improve the health of Australia. It was like, I want to understand what's going on here and I want to improve stuff. And I want ideas of how to improve stuff. So now I have lots of great ideas of how to improve stuff. The problem is that the upper management in the department like things the way they are. So most people in the department are not doctors. There's very few doctors. Like in our branch of 230 staff, there was one doctor who worked part-time, and she was great. She worked in the part-time emergency department in Canberra Hospital, and she was there to give you advice if you had questions. And I got on really well with her because I was very enthusiastic and wanted to learn and wanted to improve stuff. So we got on like a house on fire, and other people are less so, right? So when I see what Trump's doing and JFK going there wanting to improve the health of Americans and improve diet and get pharmaceuticals off the TV ads and reduce advertising of pharmaceuticals and reduce pharmaceutical donations to political parties, I'm like, the variation in costs in the health system is massive. Like one item can be $10 at one place and $1,000 at another, almost that extreme. The costs of a simple procedure like renal dialysis can vary from $100 to $1,000 given a different hospital. So I think it's a really good thing. I like people who are energetic. JFK is very energetic. He has lots of ideas on lots of stuff and he questions things. Very good thing. And if I was working in health, I would be very happy to have him coming in, because generally you sit there and it's just people are not interested. So it's a very good thing, and hopefully they'll clear out some of the dead wood, because departments there's a fair bit of dead wood in departments. Anyway, that's just my view on it. Now, sometimes I make comments on social media, which I probably should shut my mouth on, and people are like, oh, that's not true. And then I feel like I've got to defend myself. So it's like, well, you've never worked in health, so then I've got to go and get a little certificate to say, well, here's my departmental awards for the work I did. It's just like you should be working to make things better. And anyone who wants to work to make things better is a good outcome. And I think archery is very much like that. It's like you work in a hope that you'll one day shoot better, and one day it'll be perfect weather and you'll shoot well and it'll all come together on that one day. So tomorrow's it's meant to be very windy, so I'm not expecting anything amazing. They're like leading up to the state championship. I just changed limbs because my arrows were coming through stiff. And I tried tuning. And I'm just hoping it all comes together. Like, I've shot some fairly decent scores at home in practice, but I haven't done it in the tournament. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. And I was just beaten by two of the people I'm competing against tomorrow, so And for basically, so it hurts here. It hurt here in the Nationals. And I came back and I do weights and I do stuff. My dog wasn't barking before I did the video, by the way. And all of a sudden my chest starts hurting again. So, anyway, it's alright. I'll just keep working, and one day it'll all come right. That's my plan. But anyway, I think it's a really, really good thing. I think it should be exciting for people. People are going to say, oh, now when I say the news, it depends which news station you listen to. Like today on the news in Australia, it was like people were just slamming him. That's because they give one side of the story. And I'm going to say it's not even biased, it's almost lies. It's lies. Because he's got so many ideas about health, and it's not, they go, oh, he's an anti-vaxxer. I don't see him as an anti-vaxxer. What he is, he's asking questions about stuff, like why is autism rates going up? Why is this going up? Why is this? Could we do this difference? Is it due to poisons, which we put it on our agriculture? Is it because we change our agriculture? And Trump gave him 2 years to improve the health of America. Seems good, right? I just don't see the problem here. You got 2 years. Let's see what you can do. Because no one else has done jack. So, I remember I was in health, and I had these little pet projects I worked on in my own time, right? So outside of the work I had to do, I did these things in my spare time. And one I did several, but one I did was on cancer rates in women. And it was exponential growth in cancer in women. So I presented this paper to a board of directors and executive, and I'm like, this is the rates of cancer growth in women. It's going through the roof. Bang! This is maybe 14, 15 years ago. So I suspect it's worse now because it was... In fact, it's probably hard for you to find someone who hasn't had cancer, I'm going to say. Back 20 years ago, it wasn't like that. Okay, the rates were... Anyway, so I gave this paper. I was like, here's the rates of cancer and a specific type of cancer in women, in age group. And it was going through the roof. And... it wasn't like we should do more research on this and understand why this is occurring. That's what I would have wanted. We should probably put this up to the minister and say, should we do some investigation on why rates of cancer is going up? But we didn't. It was like, oh, it's just because we have more testing today. Maybe, but the rates are going through the roof. Like problems with brain cancers. Brain cancers were almost non-existent years ago. It's... this stuff is just going through the roof. Diabetes, and it might be diets, it might be the drugs we're putting on our plants, it might be genetic, look, it might be vaccines. I don't know. The thing is, someone should be looking at it, because these things are going up and it's costing the government a fortune. Now, when you're the Department of Health and you spend 25% of the Australian budget and you do no research on why these things are occurring and how you reduce costs, it blows my mind. It blows my mind that we don't look at ways to reduce cost in the health services. It blows my mind we don't look at ways to improve health outcomes, because we don't. Like literally there's no one. In 5,000 people in the Department of Health, there's no one looking at it. And then you go, oh, well, you go to the state governments. Well, I'm going to tell you, there's no one there looking at it either, right? It's just mind-blowing. It's like it's devolved in South Australia, it's evolved to an area. So it goes state, and then they've got area health services, and all they do is just funnel out money. It's just like, there's money, so it's basically federal government gives us money, state gives us money, and then we just funnel it out. So you can have hospitals that are having bad outcomes, like high infection rates or high readmissions, um, and no one asks a question. In fact, I was told we don't want to know about this because if we know about it, that means we have to do something. You don't, and I said to the guy, me making friends, I said to the guy, so if you're going to a hospital, you don't want to know that hospital's really got good outcomes. Me not making friends with my, the boss above me. So so that was. But some bosses I got on really well with because if bosses wanted to show an impact and make a difference, they were full on to this stuff. It's yes, we want to do this. And there's other people who just don't give a rat's. You might have a secretary who goes, look, I don't want to know when there's hospitals have got problems because then it comes back to me that I'm now responsible for those problems that occur in that hospital. We had a case in Queensland. The doctor was doing surgery on a person, wasn't qualified, getting bad outcomes. When I say bad outcomes, it wasn't turning out well. And basically it resulted in the whole government changing, swapping. Because it was that government should have known that this person was operating, was unqualified and was producing bad outcomes. But it took someone to actually release the information on the doctor, and that the health area hadn't done its background, and then that went up the thing. It then went up to the health minister. Now the health minister wouldn't have known about the doctor, the state health department wouldn't have known about it because they don't do anything on it. It's anyway. So I'm happy. We'll see how it turns out in 2 years, because since I've been out of health, costs have gone through the roof. Waiting times have gone through the roof. Nothing's gone better. It's all been terrible. So anyway, that's we have national standards in Australia for how fast things are meant to be done, how long people are waiting, how many cases are meant to be seen in times, all agreed standards, and state governments have got to adhere to these things. And I'm telling you, we're not doing it. It's just not happening. So, and they're not even accountable. They don't even talk about it. So anyway, I'm very happy that people talk about stuff. Just my view. Anyway, I'll leave it there and get back to shooting. Thanks for watching. Bye.